Hi, you're welcome to Seasons, and today it's with me, Ronnie, and
Josie.
the topic for today is Bridle your tongue. Bridle your tongue. An interesting topic. What do you think? What do you have to say about it?
Usually your tongue is basically, the focus is basically on what you say and how you say it and how you intend to putting your message across. What do you think of bridle your tongue?
Well, we're told, right, especially for women, we just run it. It's second nature. And it's about how we manage what we're saying in the audience that we're saying it to and how we are saying it. Does it mean we should keep quiet? Sometimes. Does it mean we should swallow the things we want to say? Possibly. But certainly every single person has a right to talk, especially the whole purpose of talking is to communicate. And sometimes how it comes across may not be welcomed. In bridling your tongue, it's a question of thinking about how we're speaking, who we're speaking to, and when we're speaking, the projection and or whatnot. Does it need to be said? Even if it needs to be said, is it at that time? And is it to the right audience? And is it at the right pitch? A lot is involved in communication, even non-communication. We're talking about the tongue, but the tongue, it cascades also into the body language, into the things that are unsaid. It's about communicating appropriately. What do you think?
Because communication is really important, the way you do it should be thought of properly. The way communication comes in all forms, it could be verbal, it could be non-verbal. And we need to make sure that we're communicating right. We need to address issues as they should be addressed, not to get too emotional when you're saying things, so that you're objective. You come across as being objective as opposed to being emotional about it. And when you're really emotional, you can just go yakety yak and just keep going. Sometimes you're not even thinking about what you're saying, but you just feel the need to get something off your chest. And having said that, the person who is receiving it, is it being received as it's being presented? Because that is also very important. Some things are better left unsaid, I think. I also think that if you don't have the empathy and the compassion to say certain things that are really, really hard, you need to hold it there and then, think about it and revisit it. But you don't really have to say everything. You don't always have to be right, and you don't always have to say things that you're thinking of or thinking through. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right. Workplace to intimate relationships, it all revolves around communication. And it's in all walks of life, because that's how we build relationships, whether from the children to the parents and you're right. We would love to say that human beings are structured in such a way that when we want to talk, we put it into a nice, neat package and deliver it. That's not real life. Real life, there's a lot of emotion involved, there's a lot of whatever, but however, we are also given a thinking faculty to decide, the purpose of this communication is to get something across. Will I be getting it across in the state that I'm in? It's not all the time that we are emotional. It's not all the time that the communication has to be in a heated manner. Even devoid of emotion, there are times that people speak. Some will say that they come across very, very curt. They come across very obnoxious without meaning to be so. It's all about the person's experiences. It's all about their word power. It's a lot of things go into the mix. It's about understanding the person you're dealing with. It's about understanding the situation as well. And it's also about understanding yourself, because sometimes somebody is speaking something and you, the recipient, may take the wrong end of the stick entirely and there's no communication. So sometimes it's also you projecting you into a conversation. You have to be able to manage all those things, and it can be quite taxing. That's what I think.
And the whole essence of communication or talking or speaking or whichever way you want to put it is being able to get your message across to the person the right way, and the person understanding it the way you're projecting it. Because if you're not able to do that, then there's really no sense in saying what you have to say. And then also, you have to be sure you have the right environment when you're saying these things. Also be sure that you have the right tone. This is all, it's not as easy as it sounds, but over time you learn. Sometimes people would say count to 10 before you say certain things. Some people would say take a deep breath, especially when you're upset. It depends on your own way of having to deal with it. But really and truly, like I always say, once you put it out there, it's a bit difficult to take back. You can apologize and the person will accept it, but the mind is very powerful. And you don't want to say hurtful things to people if you're not sure of what you're saying or if it's not true, and you don't want to just come across as being not a nice person or trying to hurt people because you're upset. I would say when you bridle your tongue, you have to be wise. You have to be sure of what you're saying, and then you have to be sure that the recipient or the person you're saying it to is receiving it the way you want it to come across. And you?
Yeah, I think we've said practically what it involves. What I will say, you've got to think about when you're speaking. Are you spreading life or are you spreading death? Are you spreading negativity or positivity? What are you saying? Some people, because of how they are wired, they speak death. I don't think it's deliberate. In most cases, it's just how they are trained. And others, it's just so wonderful to be around them because all they talk about, just they lift you up and all the rest of it, even in their communication. It's important also to doctor your content in speech. Not just I know in the workplace we learn how to be well-mannered, well-structured, and we have that language at work. At home or in other relationships, sometimes we feel we don't have to try that hard. But I believe that's even where it's most important because these, those relationships matter. So think about what we are saying, and not just how we're saying it, but what it is that we are saying to people around us. Again, as I said, you don't always have to be right. Sometimes the stronger person keeps quiet. Sometimes the stronger person sidesteps the quarrel. Sometimes the stronger person decides, well, I'll let this go. And does it mean that by keeping quiet you stifle your emotions? No, there are other modes of communication. We're all psychologists. You look for a better time. Or you can even write a letter. You can write a text. There's so many things you can do. That way the emotion and the body language is removed from it. That may have inflamed the situation. In bridling your tongue, think about what you're saying on a daily basis and how you're saying it. How do you also want to be addressed? How do you want to be spoken to? That's really what it is.
Yeah, and I would say, human nature, we always like people who give us some kind of positive effects. We'd always like to, hear good things about ourselves. So even when we need to say those hard, or need to have those hard conversations, you find a way of saying them, because I'm not trying to rifle the other person, but just getting your message across. Some of these things really need to be said, so you need to choose your words carefully. They need to be measured, so you're not upsetting the person as opposed to getting a message across. It's not a walk in the park. It's something you learn over time. It's a lot of wisdom, and we just all have to learn. We all have to learn to be very wise when we're saying certain things. Bridling your tongue is a tough one, but we'll all get there.
It's true. It's true. And also for parents, especially parents of younger children, it is so vitally important that, especially when they tick you off, that you're not calling them names, you're not releasing horrible things into the atmosphere, because these things go around and bring them to pass, whether we like it or not. Be very careful around your children, around what you're saying to them, because you want to build up children, build up their walls of self-esteem, etc. So it's important as parents. You don't say, oh, well, they don't understand if they're younger and what have you. That's when it's more important that we bridle our tongue around them, even the grandparents, the great-grandparents, because many people have been scarred through the things that their parents have said to them, or their future has been blighted through the way the parents speak to them. So you parents out there, take it easy, bridle your tongue around your children, please. Yeah.
Well, and children most importantly, but also your spouses, your siblings, people around you. I'm sure we'll have this topic again because it's very vast. And we all really need help, really to know how to bridle our tongue.
Until next time, see you again. Bye.
Bye.